Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is second chapter. Contents of the Gita summarized. Text number 30. Is that correct? Please repeat after me. Dehī, nityam, avadhyo, ayam, dehe, sarvasya, bhārata, tasmāt, sarvāṇi, bhūtāni, na tvam, śocitum, arhasi, dehī nityam avadhyo ayam, dehe sarvasya bhārata, tasmāt sarvāṇi bhūtāni, tvam śocitum arhasi. Word for word meaning. Dehi, the honor of the material body. Nityam, eternally. Avadhyaḥ, cannot be killed. Ayam, this soul. Dehe, in the body. Sarvasya, of everyone. Bharata, O descendant of Bharata. Tasmāt, therefore, sarvāṇi, all, bhūtāni, living entities that are born, na, never, tvam, you, śocitum, to lament, arhasi, deserve. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O descendant of Bharata. Okay, everyone can repeat after me. O descendant of Bharata. He who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna, as a kṣatriya, should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher, Bhīṣma and Droṇa, will die in the battle. On the authority of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war, it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. The need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dehī nityam avadhyo dehe sarvasya bhārata tasmāt sarvāṇi bhūtāni tvam śocitum arhasi. So now we conclude, according to the purport, the teachings about the spirit soul, immutable. Let's see what is the meaning of immutable. Immutable means no death, unchanging over time, or unable to be changed. That means eternal, as it is. It's like water. Water is always wet, either in the liquid form or even in the solid form. There is a solid form of water, right? What do you call this? Cold ice, or ice water, or
Dry ice.
dry ice. Yes, dry ice. It's still water. When you put water in the fridge, in the freezer zone, after some time it becomes solid, but still it is wet. So that is the unchanging nature of the water. So similarly, the soul is unchangeable. It remains as it is. That means the soul is always spirit. That's why it's called spirit soul. Do we call material soul? No. Soul is always spiritual. It doesn't change the nature. Prabhupada will always also say, the sun, Sham! The sun, the nature of the sun is heat and light. Or the fire, heat and light. So the soul, when we say the owner of the body, who is the owner of the body?
Soul.
Yeah, the soul. Dehī. The words used here is dehī and dehe.
In the body, that's
Dehe means in the body. What's in the body? That means the soul. We don't say, do we say my soul? Do you heard of that? Have you heard of that? When you say, oh, my soul. You are the soul. You don't say my soul, right? You may say my body, because the body belongs to the soul. Temporarily, we are engaged in this body. So, right from text 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, the first instruction of what is the nature of the soul. Dehinosmin yata dehe komaramyo varam jara tata dehantara paptris dhirastatra namuyate. Again, the name dehi, the word dehi, dehina, of the embodied. The soul is within this body, but at the same time it is separate from the body. Prabhupada gave an example. It's like the oil and water. You cannot mix. It's always separate. But the tendency of the conditioned souls is that they identify the body as the self. And it's very difficult to understand that we are not this body unless we hear from the right source. The Bhagavad Gita clearly explains that we are not this body. We're a spirit soul. And the soul continuously passes to another body at the time of death. As birth is certain, death is certain. As when one dies, then also birth is certain. This is the meaning of immutable, never changing. The soul remains as it is, even though we change this body since time immemorial, and never we can find or trace in the history when the soul gets in contact with the material energy. The soul is always pure, and it says that when the soul comes in contact with the material energy, it becomes covered up. It's like a rain coming from the rain cloud. When it touches the earth, it becomes muddied. But the nature of that rainwater is still there. You can make it distilled. You can separate also the mud or the dirt from the rain cloud or the rain. So similarly, because our nature is that we are not this body, we're spirit souls, somehow or other we identify the body as a self. And this is the root cause of our sufferings. Since we are not this body and we think that we are the body, then everything is planned according to how to make this body comfortable, how to make this body exist as long as possible. But then it is not possible to exist eternally. Because the soul is eternal, we want to live eternally. But it's not possible in this body. Sometime or another, we have a certain quota or time limit that when the body is not able to function anymore, then we have to give up this body and we have to move on. So the soul is immortal. Cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be withered by the wind, cannot be wet by water. Because it is spiritual. So we can try as many ways as possible to understand the soul, but through our teeny little mind, on our own we'll not be able to understand. We need some guidance. We need higher perspective coming from the proper source. And the perfect source is none other than Krishna. He is the best source or instruction coming from Him. What is this spirit soul? Now, understanding that we are not this body and we are spirit soul is not good enough. We have to go beyond that. Even the Mayavad or some transcendentalists, they understand that they're not the body, they're spirit souls, but their main goal is to merge with the Supreme Spirit. Another aspect of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Brahma Jyoti or the effulgence coming from the body of the Supreme Lord. So yes, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. And unfortunately, not everyone in the material world understands this. They don't have a clue. They don't understand. What they do actually is just to take care of the body. They will make so many arrangements for the body to stay as long as possible. It's like in Canada, I'm sure all over the world now, but in Canada, because we used to live in Canada, they have a store, anti-aging store. Anti-aging. That means, people, they can have their facelifts if they're looking old, or they will have some colorings available for their hair, starting to become grayish. Every cosmetics available, artificial, natural, so they will look young. As much as possible, try to cover up the age of the person so that they will look young. Have you seen like an old, of course you've seen, most of the movie stars, they always look very young. They look very fresh, look very shining. Because everything is artificial, but actually they can hide Sometimes they cannot hide their body or their faces. They will have this different operations, like trying to lift the chin, or everything. Copy or something like that. Anyway, but that is not the proper way how to approach, because the soul, we should take more care of the soul. And Prabhupada gave an example, just like what is the use if you have a bird and the bird is in a golden cage. So you just want to make the cage look shining all the time. But then you forgot to feed the bird inside of the cage. You may have a very, very nice, wonderful bird inside a very nice and expensive, beautiful cage. But then you forgot to feed the bird inside the cage, because you just become absorbed in making the cage always looking new and shiny. But then you forgot to feed the bird. So what is the use? If the bird will one day, it will die, because there is no meals, right? So similarly, if somehow or other our lives in this human form of life that we are having right now is not being taken care of the soul, and we're just taking care of the body. So what's going to happen? Then this life becomes a waste. And it takes many, many lifetimes again before we can come to the platform of human form of life. According to the scriptures, there are 8,400,000 species of life. And there is no guarantee that our next life will be in human form of life again. It could be in a degraded form, like a cat or a dog or a monkey, or a snake or a plant or a tree or an insect or a mammal. Can we guarantee? Of course. Prabhupada says if you somehow honor pasara, you're guaranteed you'll have a human form of life. But still, that doesn't mean much if you just have a human form of life again and then don't use that human form of life to utilize to cultivate Krishna consciousness. So the body is material, made of these 8 elements, 5 gross and 3 subtle. Bhumir apunalo bhayo kamanu buddhir evacha ahankar itiyame bina prakriti astida. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. These are the gross elements that compose our body. And also there are 3 subtle elements: mind, intelligence, and ego. So what is the symptoms of the soul? If someone asks you, can you prove that I am not this body, that I am spirit, soul? What do you say? How can you prove? Mataji, just one second. What Mataji? Somebody ask you.
Anybody died means we will ask if he is passed away.
Huh?
If dead body is in front of us.
Yeah, right now there's no dead body. We're all alive here. My dear sir, do you know that you are not this body? You're a spirit soul.
In a gross level.
Okay, good. Govind, come in. So if one says, can you prove that you are not the body, you're a spirit soul, you can say, if I pinch you, right? This is dead. Actually, this is dead. But if I pinch you, there is some pain also. Or if I say something to you which is not true, They say, oh, you're something else. You are not really what you are. It may be false. Let's say it is false. And you get hurt. So who's the one who got hurt? Is your conscience. You say, Prabhupada says the symptom of the soul is consciousness. Just like, it's not the mind. Mind is still lower. Mind is still material. Intelligence is still material. But when you say ego, that is the demarcation between the body and the soul. It's like thinking yourself, which you are not. According to the scriptures, we are all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, and we are all servants of the Supreme Lord. Now, if you think that you are the master of all you survey, if you think that like a mad person, he may think that he is the Prime Minister of India. He's walking like, I'm the Prime Minister. Is he really the Prime Minister? Or he only thinks? Well, consciousness especially, we identify with the body, with the matter, and therefore, whatever we're always thinking, that's not even the mind, because the mind is, the function of the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. Identifying with the body all the time, that's your, it's like, some people, they're always thinking of what to eat all the time. All the time, they're just thinking, how can I eat nice food stuff? So that is their consciousness. But a devotee of the Supreme Lord, understanding that they're not the body, they're spirit souls, their consciousness is always how to please Krishna, how to serve Krishna, or how to serve his devotees. So this is the symptom of the soul. The body will not be able to think like that because it's dead matter. But the soul identifies oneself either for real or unreal. So here Arjuna, as a kṣatriya, he does not want to fight, because as a devotee by nature, he is very, very non-violence. He's not into violence. He's non-violent. So he doesn't want to fight, but Lord Krishna says, no, you have to fight in order to establish the principles of religion. And because he's in the bodily platform here, Arjuna was in the bodily platform. He's not able to identify the nature of the soul. And Lord Krishna says, you just fight, you do it for me. Because Krishna is the ultimate authority. Prabhupada says here, on the authority of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body. Not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at certain stage of material maturity. Yeah, some says that only human form of life has soul. The animals, they don't have souls. Some says, oh yes, when you become mature, when you become spiritually advanced, then you will understand that you are the soul. You become the soul. Or the soul is only in this lifetime, and after you die, no more soul. There's so many different speculations like that. Oh, there is no soul.
No more soul in the body.
Huh?
No more soul in the body when we die.
No more soul in the body. When you die, the soul doesn't exist anymore. You may have a soul now, but when you die, the soul is like merged into the entire creation. Or there is no soul, and then when you become liberated, You are the soul. You became the soul. So there's many speculations like this. But we don't adhere, we don't accept this because our main authority is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself, Lord Krishna. The soul is immortal. There is a difference. The body is mortal. That means the body dies. But the soul, and you feel the same thing. Don't you have this experience that your body go through certain stages in the life? Now you may be 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, but you feel the same person. Now the body may not be able to function as when you were young, but the person inside has the same energy. He doesn't change. You have that experience, Sadhu, Prabhu? Yes? But when the body cannot function anymore, you'll not be able to do it. It's not possible. It's like a child always wanted to run, but when you get old, you cannot run anymore. Though the spirit of running is there. You can do it within your heart. You can run. It's like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he met Ramananda Roy in Godavari, the banks of Godavari in Visakhapatnam, in South India.
Rajamundry.
Huh?
Rajamundry.
Yes, Rajamundry, yes. He had to constrain himself. He wanted to run, but he's a sannyasi. He cannot do that. And Ramananda Roy, even though he was born in a very highly elevated Brahmin family, but his work put him in to be a Sudra, a governor of Maharaj Prataparudra in that district. So it says there that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ran within his heart. He wanted to run, but he just sat down and waited till Ramananda Roy come closer to him, because Ramananda Roy can see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's effulgence. It's like 1,000 suns shining all at the same time. But it's not like the sun that it's piercing to the eyes, like harmful to the eyes. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's effulgence is so soothing to the eyes, cooling to the eyes. So he concluded also that he's not an ordinary person, he's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, because no ordinary person can have this kind of effulgence. Yeah, it says the soul is so effulgent, more effulgent than, we have one sun, right, in our universe. And the sun can illuminate the entire universe. But the soul is like composed of many, many, many suns, the effulgence, the power of this, the brightness of the soul. So yes, the soul is immortal, and therefore, for Lord Krishna to tell Arjuna to fight and kill the enemies, to reestablish the principles of Dharma or religion, is not really a crime, because he's not really killing the soul. He cannot kill the soul. He's just killing the mentality. It's like even nowadays, it says that there are many Jagais and Madais. 500 years ago, there is only one Jagai and only one Madai. But nowadays, 99% of the people or the population are Jagais and Madais. So we go out there, we also kill all of these Jagais and Madais, not with guns, but we kill them, we kill their mentality, their atheistic mentalities, by giving them the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the one that can cure. This is actually religious war. This war that happened 5,000 years ago is being under the instruction of Lord Krishna. Now, is the war going on right now a religious war? Many wars going on all over the world, but the latest one is in Ukraine and Russia, or Russia in Ukraine. Is that a religious war? Is it really like justifiable to kill someone? Saying that, oh yeah, he is a spirit soul, so he will never die actually anyway. So let us just, fire all the missiles that we have, even to the civilians. Yeah, the authority, they think that they know better. Authority is under the principle of religion also. The so-called authority is due to false ego. It is false ego. But nevertheless, that is also part of their karma. They are destined to die like that. This is again arranged by under the jurisdiction of the material energy, that they will die that way.
Some international politics also there.
That is external still. With that we see as politics or whatever. This is the nature of karma. Okay? Some people died because of COVID, but COVID is not the cause of their death. It is the material energy. Their time is over. Some people died because of accidents. So it's not the accident that is the cause of their death. It is the material energy that governs everyone. So we cannot say when are we going to die or how we going to die, except exalted personalities like Bhīṣma. They can choose the time. They can choose the place when they're to leave their body. But we cannot. So, time, place, and circumstances, it doesn't matter where we are. The main thing is that we need to be Krishna conscious. We need to think of Krishna all the time and make ourselves in such a way never to forget Krishna and always remember Krishna by all of our activities. Unfortunately, we have our ISKCON family also in Ukraine. But that is the fact of life. They are there. You cannot escape. You are there. That will make you more Krishna conscious, isn't it? Because time I am the destroyer of everything. So irregardless of where we are, we should be always try to become more and more serious in our Krishna consciousness. I've been to some countries where the practice of Krishna consciousness is very, very difficult. Like in the Middle East. You cannot wear dhoti in the streets. You cannot wear tilak. You cannot even wear your japamala. But there was one devotee I was reading, he posted, he's in Doha. Doha is another, Middle Eastern country. And some commented, "Hey Prabhu, you're not supposed to be wearing dhoti here. It's restricted." But then he would say, "I'm not from here, I'm a tourist, so I can wear." No, we have to follow the rule of the land. So yes, this concludes the teachings of the nature of the soul, and what follows now is about Karma Yoga, which is later on ultimately the next chapter will be Karma Yoga. You will be introduced about this Karma Yoga. Okay, so we stop here. You have any points or comments? Those of you who's been listening or coming every day, are you able now to realize that you are not the body, you're spirit, souls?
I heard that some of the devotees in the mirrors in their house or show, they say, they look at it and they say, I am not the body. They put a sticker there.
I am not the body, I see.
To remind you repeatedly.
Uh-huh. So it's better to say, I am spirit, soul. Yeah. Yes.
So that we are not the body. We should not
Yeah, we are not the body, but we should still take care of the body.
And that's what I was coming to. Prabhupada said somewhere,
Yeah.
this body you have to take care so that
Yeah.
you properly.
This body is a bad bargain. Make the best out of the bad bargain. Prabhupada says we should eat in order for the body and soul stays together. We cannot neglect the body as well. We cannot say, I'm not this body, okay, I will not eat for 10 days. Yeah. No, it's like also, let's say, Ekadasis, and you have to perform your service. And you said, "Oh, let me just be austere and not do any have anything in my body." But then you'll not be able to perform your service. So it's better you eat, then you'll be able to serve. We should not neglect this body, of course, but the main thing is we should not emphasize more on the body. Huh? Yeah, you keep it fit.
It's only through the medium of this body that we try to do some services.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we have to just eat so that we can be alive. Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, he doesn't like his brahmacharis to be fat. He wanted them to like fit. Just enough so that you'll be strong. We have brahmacharis who are like very skinny, but they're very strong. And we have who are very big, but then the body is full of, difficulties. Main thing is we need to be spiritually strong. And to be spiritually strong, we pray to Lord Balaram. Give us strength to become determined, to become stronger and stronger with our determination to fight Maya, to go against the flow of the material energy. This is more important. Strengthen our mind by always thinking of Krishna. Manmana bhavamad bhakto Madhyajimam namaskuru. Strengthen our spiritual life by serving the Vaishnavas, getting up early in the morning before Mangalartik, before sunrise. Don't sleep anymore. If you're going to sleep to take care of the body, just Prabhupada's called it snap. Instead of nap, they call it snap. That means, like to get you boosted. Yes, we have to take care of this body. Eat properly. Each and every body has their own composition. What is good for you may be not good for me. What is good for me may not be good for you. Pitta, Kapha Pitta dosha. This is the Ayurvedic conclusion of each and every one of us. So we have to know this body also, to take care of the body. Yes?
So we heard that the soul is immortal, but the body is not. So
No.
the body that's made of the 5 gross elements, that is mortal. So what happens to the mind, intelligence, and the false ego?
Ah, good question. They go along with you. They go with the soul. The next body that you will have, you'll have the same mind, intelligence, and ego. But then if you are in the lower species of life, then the mind, intelligence, and ego, they're more covered up. Let's say one person becomes a dog. So his understanding is that he's a dog. He will only bark. And he'll not be able to understand Bhagavad Gita. In the human form of life, our consciousness is developed. That's why we can talk about the science of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So, when you, let's say, or one person becomes a tree, the same mind is there. The gross body changes, but it's still made of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. But the mind, intelligence, and ego, they're the ones who becomes purified also. Once they become purified, then you come to the transcendental platform, Brahma Bhuta platform, spiritual platform. Okay? Yes?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. The thing is, every time this mind, so intellect basically, though we know, right, that we are not the body, but this intellect keeps playing and then it basically gives the logics anytime, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the surface level we say that, but somewhere it again pulls you back.
Yes.
Right? And it, so how to come out?
Well, you have to come to the intelligence status now, because intelligence is higher than the mind. Don't always see when we say, "Oh, Prabhu, you're in the bodily platform." Usually, when we hear that, he is in the mental platform, because the mind is the center of all the senses. It is called the sixth sense. So, when you are in the bodily platform, you're identifying with your mind, which right now is our worst enemy. Your mind, when your senses are fully controlled, the mind becomes peaceful. When the mind becomes peaceful, you become happy. When you're happy and your mind is peaceful, the soul is already rich. You'll be able to hear the dictation of the Paramatma inside. Right now, we are just following the dictations of the mind. Okay, let's go to cinema. Okay, let's go to the bar. Okay, let's go to all of this sense enjoyment. This is the conditioned souls. But for devotee, the mind says, no, I should go to the temple. I can learn more. I can get more association there. And intelligence says, yes, that is the best way to go.
It's power of discrimination.
Yeah, you have. And you, as Prabhupada says, at least come to the platform of mode of goodness.